Have you ever felt that launching a product is chaotic, slow, overwhelming, and far more expensive than it should be? You have an idea, maybe even a genuinely good product, but instead of clarity, you're facing delays, endless revisions, misalignment within the team, and the constant fear that once everything is finally ready, the product still won't sell. But what if launching a product wasn't a guessing game? What if, before manufacturing, before printing packaging, before investing tens of thousands, you already knew that your product was designed to sell, scale, and make financial sense? I call this the clarity effect, because once you have clarity in the product, the packaging, the positioning, and the economics, the launch stops being chaos and starts working as a system. You stop guessing, you stop making random revisions, and you start making decisions that actually lead to sales and growth. That's exactly what I help founders do. My name is Arena Kim. I'm a packaging and brand designer specializing in food and beverage, wellness, supplements, and children's products. I work directly with founders, Amazon brands, and growing companies, helping turn ideas into market-ready products without wasting time, money, or energy. With 17 years of combined experience, I've worked with 100 plus clients, contributed to 45 plus successful product launches, and developed packaging systems designed for real-world manufacturing, logistics, and sales, not just something that looks good on a screen. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to turn a product idea into a launch that doesn't fall apart at the design, production, or go-to-market stage. I'll break down the key mistakes that cause founders to lose time, money, and confidence before they even launch. Explain the difference between packaging that sells and packaging that simply looks nice, and walk you through a strategic approach that allows you to launch faster, with less stress, and with a clear understanding of the economics. Most importantly, you'll see how to remove uncertainty before it becomes expensive, and start making decisions based not on intuition and hope, but on a clear system you can apply right now. I work with three types of clients: founders who have a product idea but aren't confident it will be clearly understood or truly desired by the market, teams and brands that believe in their product but don't know how to translate it into sales and healthy margins through packaging and positioning, and those who are ready to launch but feel stuck between design decisions, production constraints, and the fear of making a costly mistake before going to market. My work helps brands launch faster, reduce costly revisions, increase perceived value and margins, confidently enter retail, Amazon, or DTC. Not because the design is beautiful, but because it's strategic. The most powerful part of the clarity effect is that it removes guesswork from the launch process. It doesn't focus on nice-looking solutions, but on creating products and packaging that are genuinely clear, relevant, and needed by the market. When a founder has clarity around positioning, audience, pricing, and the role of packaging, the launch stops being a risky experiment. Decisions are made faster, mistakes are identified before production, and investments are directed where they actually work. As a result, the product enters the market with confidence, gets traction faster, and starts generating real sales, without chaos or unnecessary costs. When it comes to launching a product, most founders fall into one of two traps. The first group goes to large agencies, spending months and significant budgets on complex processes involving many people, where focus is lost, responsibility becomes diluted, and decisions move painfully slowly. The second group rushes to launch as fast as possible, skipping strategy and details, only to face revisions, delays, and rising costs at the production stage. And then there's a third category: legends. These are founders who understand that speed starts with clarity. They don't just have a product, they have an idea, a position, and a system. They make deliberate decisions, build brands with character, and bring products to market that don't try to appeal to everyone, but are clearly understood by their audience, and sell. So what actually separates products that become scalable businesses with multi-million-dollar revenue from those that remain good ideas that never truly grow? Working with founders and product brands, I see the same pattern over and over again. Most focus on individual elements: taste, design, features, while missing the system that turns a product into a predictable, repeatable business. Success almost never starts with a perfect product or beautiful packaging. It starts with understanding the process, structure, and logic that allow a product to sell consistently, scale, and generate profit. And this is best illustrated by one of the most scalable brands in history. In the mid-20th century, America was flooded with restaurants. Many of them served good food and tried to stand out through atmosphere and variety, but almost all of them faced the same problem. These businesses were difficult to scale. They were heavily dependent on people and constantly broke down. Ray Kroc noticed the small restaurant run by the McDonald brothers, not because of the taste of the food or the way it looked. What caught his attention was the process behind it. A limited menu, a clear sequence of actions, identical portions, and a minimal number of decisions required from staff made it possible to deliver consistent results every single day. Kroc realized that the real value of this business wasn't the product. It was the system. That system made scaling possible. It enabled franchising, brand growth, and packaging that supported speed, convenience, and the economics of the entire model. That's how McDonald's became a global business. Through structure, not surface appeal. This is the key point that most founders miss. McDonald's became a global brand because every element, product, process, brand, and packaging, worked together as a unified system, not because it had the best burger. In this model, packaging was a tool, not a decoration. It supported speed, consistency, convenience, economics, and scalability. The same is true for modern product brands today. If packaging isn't integrated into the system, it doesn't sell. If it doesn't support pricing, margins, and shelf logic, it becomes an expensive mistake. That's why successful founders don't think in terms of pretty or not pretty. They think in terms of clarity for their audience, speed of decision-making, scalability, and return on investment. Now I want you to pause for a moment and really think about this. If a product doesn't solve a real customer problem, if packaging doesn't help communicate that value, and if the economics don't work, that's not a business. It's a gamble. Next, I'll show you exactly how to build this system, so launching a product stops being chaos and starts working as a predictable, controllable process. My process doesn't start with design. It starts with clarity. I help founders understand not just what they're producing, but the role their product plays in the customer's life. We define the price point, the key attributes, and, most importantly, the job, both rational and emotional, that makes someone choose this product over another. Because packaging shouldn't sell a feature, it should sell meaning. Next, I analyze the market and the competitive landscape. Not for inspiration, but to clearly understand how the category looks, what signals it already communicates, and where there is room for growth. This helps avoid either blending into the shelf or creating an overly experimental design that customers don't understand. Then we focus on the target audience. Trying to sell to everyone almost always leads to diluted decisions and weak sales. A clear audience choice makes the visual message stronger and the purchase decision faster and more confident. Based on this, the brand's personality takes shape, its character, tone, and charisma. This is what defines the visual language, the hierarchy on the packaging, and how the brand speaks to the customer. People choose brands that speak their language, and this step sets the direction for every decision that follows. Only then does the visual direction begin. I create a clear brief and mood board that act as a visual contract between strategy and design. This removes subjectivity, reduces revisions, and allows the process to move quickly and intentionally. In parallel, I factor in production realities. Instead of simplifying the design to fit random constraints, we define the desired level of quality up front and select printing partners capable of delivering it. This protects the brand from losing quality, time, and budget at later stages. Packaging and brand design are developed as a system, not as a one-off visual. The system accounts for SKU logic, scalability, multiple sales channels, and real market conditions. All technical and regulatory requirements are integrated throughout the process, so finalization happens without delays or risks. Before printing, Color proofs and physical samples are always reviewed, because a screen is never reality. And before launch, the packaging is reinforced with marketing assets, so it doesn't work in isolation, but as part of a unified sales system. As a result, the founder doesn't get pretty packaging, but a clear, scalable, and commercially sound system, one that reduces launch risk, protects margins, and turns the brand into an asset rather than a gamble. This is Epic Tofu, a line of marinated tofu products where my role went far beyond a packaging refresh. The goal was to turn the packaging into a scalable brand asset. The client was entering an overcrowded plant-based category with a single idea but no system. I developed the brand's visual DNA, built a clear character to product to flavor hierarchy, and created a packaging system designed for SKU expansion. As a result, the packaging strengthened the product's emotional appeal, improved shelf clarity, received an industry award, and became one of the key factors in the brand's subsequent acquisition by another company. True Functional is a vegan, sugar-free functional supplements brand created for a conscious audience that expects scientific credibility, transparency, and trust from the products they choose. My task was to create a visual system that reads as clean, credible, and premium in a digital environment. I developed a typographic logo with a clear hierarchy, an SKU architecture with color differentiation, and packaging optimized for e-commerce and Amazon. As a result, the brand received a scalable visual system, packaging adapted for multiple formats, and high-converting visuals for both the website and Amazon, fully ready for launch and growth. Lassamel is a Swiss brand of medical orthopedic insoles designed for functional foot correction while preserving freedom of movement. As part of this project, I developed a cohesive brand visual concept that combines athletic dynamism with medical precision, including the logo, packaging design, and key brand identity elements. As a result, the client received a well-structured brand system with a clear visual language that reflects the company's interdisciplinary approach and strengthens the product's professional credibility. Lulla Baby is a US-based brand of eco-friendly solid color swaddles for infants, created for modern mothers who value simplicity, quality, and calm. The goal of the project was to develop a minimalist, tactually warm visual language, playful yet restrained, that inspires trust and a sense of care. I designed the logo, packaging, brand identity, inserts, and hang tags, creating a cohesive and scalable brand system. As a result, the brand gained a clean, confident, and emotionally clear visual identity that performs equally well in both retail and online environments. To achieve results like these, you need a proper process, based not on luck or good taste, but on a clear strategy. My approach is built around a tailored product and packaging strategy designed to solve two core problems most founders face at the launch or growth stage. The first is lack of clarity: what exactly the product is selling, who it's for, how it should be read on the shelf, and why a customer should choose it over a competitor. The second is risk, the fear of investing tens of thousands into design, printing, and production, only to realize later that the packaging doesn't work, the margins don't add up, and the product isn't selling as expected. My role is to remove guesswork from this process, to make sure decisions are driven not by intuition and hope, but by a clear understanding of the market, the audience, the economics, and real production constraints. That's why I begin every project with a strategic consultation. It's a focused session where we break down your product, your launch stage, your market, and your goals, and identify where the main risks and growth opportunities are right now. I help you see what you already have, what's missing, and which path is the most logical and financially sound for your product. You can take the hard route, through trial and error, through revisions, delays, reworks, changing contractors, and the constant feeling that you're missing something. Or you can take a different route, gain clarity before the expensive decisions begin, and build a system that supports launch, scalability, and growth. That's how the founders I work with operate. This is a good fit for you if you have a product or an idea and want to understand its real commercial potential. You've already invested in design or packaging, but don't feel confident or predictable about the result. You're preparing for a launch, redesign, or line expansion, and want to avoid costly mistakes. Asterisk, you understand that packaging is not decoration. It's a business tool. I work with founders and brands who are ready to make decisions, take responsibility, and invest in results, not those looking for quick or cheap solutions. My work is not for those who want just pretty packaging, delegate critical decisions to contractors, or aren't willing to engage deeply in the process. I don't work for speed alone, and I don't take on projects where there's no willingness to think strategically. It's important to me that every collaboration is a win-win. I work selectively, and only with clients I can truly help, honestly, deeply, and with a measurable impact on the business. The first step is a strategic consultation. Its purpose is to determine whether we're a good fit and whether it makes sense to move forward together. After the session, you'll have a clear understanding of your current position, the key risks, and the next steps, regardless of whether we continue working together. If you feel that what you need is not another design version, but clarity, structure, and confidence in your launch, this conversation will be one of the most valuable investments of your time. If this approach resonates with you and you want to stop launching blind, schedule a strategic consultation. Choose a convenient date and time below to schedule a strategic consultation. I personally review every request. And if we do start working together, it won't be about beautiful packaging. It will be about a product that's clear to the market, ready for production, and built to be profitable.